Alrighty, welcome back in. I'm now going to be reviewing Tuesday's action from the Major League Baseball season. The Detroit Tigers went into Pittsburgh to take on the Pirates. 5-3 would be the final score. Detroit's now sitting at 7-4. Despite the loss, the Pirates are 9-3. Shelby Miller is 3-0 as a starter after the victory. David Bednar suffered his first loss. He's now 1-1, and Jason Foley picked up his third save of the season. The Baltimore Orioles went into Boston to take on the Red Sox, two very good teams from the AL East. The Orioles are now 6-4, and after the loss, the Red Sox are 7-4. Colbin Burness is now 2-0 as a starter, and Braylon Bello suffered his first loss. He's 1-1. The Chicago White Sox were taking on the Cleveland Guardians, and they finally got their second win of the season. They are now sitting at 2-9 with a 7-5 final score. Despite the loss, the Guardians are 8-3, still a very respectable record. Steven Wilson got his first win of the season. He's now 1-1. Scott Barlow was 0-2, and Michael Kopech got his second save of the year. The Milwaukee Brewers were taking on the Cincinnati Reds. They would win this contest 9-5 would be the final score. They have now improved to 7-3. The Reds are 6-5. Joe Ross is 1-0 as a starter. After the loss, Frankie Montas suffered his first loss of the year. He's 2-1. The New York Yankees were continuing their series with the Miami Marlins. In my previous video, it didn't actually show the final score, but I had a funny feeling the Yankees did win. They won again. They are now 10-2 with a 3-2 victory over the Marlins, and the Marlins still have only one win on the season. They are 1-11. Carlos Rondon would get his first win of the season. AJ Puck would suffer the loss. He's 0-3. Clay Holmes would get his fifth save of the year. The Seattle Mariners were in Toronto to take on the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays would prevail in this contest, bringing their record back to 500. They are now 6-6 with a 5-3 win. After the loss, the Mariners have now dropped to 4-8. Chris Bassett would get his first win of the season. He's now 1-2 as a starter. George Kirby is 1-2 as a starter as well after the loss, and Chad Green picked up his second save so far. The New York Mets were continuing their series with the Atlanta Braves. The Braves would get the better of the Mets in this matchup. 6-5 would be the final score, improving their record to 7-3. The New York Mets have now dropped to 4-7. Ronaldo Lopez picked up his first win of the year. Adrian Hauser is now 0-1 as a starter, and Raisel Iglesias got his second save this year. The Los Angeles Dodgers were continuing their series with the Minnesota Twins. They doubled up the score. 6-3 would be the final score. LA has now improved to 10-4, while the Twins have dropped to 3-6. Tyler Glasnow is now 3-0 as a starter, while Louis Varland, is now 0-2. The Houston Texans were in Kansas City to take on the Royals. The Royals would get a victory in this matchup, improving to 7-4 with a 4-3 final score. And after the loss, the Houston Texans are 4-8. James MacArthur is now 1-0 as a starter, and Wander is 0-1. The Philadelphia Phillies were in St. Louis to take on the Cardinals. The Cardinals would shut out Philadelphia. 3-0 would be the final score. They have now evened up their record at 6-6. After the loss, the Phillies are now one game below 500. They are at 5-6. Sonny Gray picked up the win. He's now 1-0 as a starter. Zach Wheeler suffered his second loss. He's 0-2. And Ryan Helsley, he's now had his fourth save thus far. The Oakland A's went into Texas to take on the Rangers. They would get a road victory in this matchup. 4-3 would be the final score. They are now sitting at 4-7. After the loss, the Rangers are now sitting at 6-5. Michael Kelly would pick up his first win of the season. He's now 1-0. Jose Leclerc is now 0-2 as a starter, and Mason Miller picked up the save. That would be his first save of the season. The Arizona Diamondbacks were taking on the Colorado Rockies. 3-2 would be the final score on this one. The Arizona Diamondbacks are now sitting at 5-7. The Rockies are still struggling. They're at 3-9. Merrill Kelly, he's 2-0 as a starter. Cal Quantrill 0-2 as a starter, while Kevin Ginkel got his first save of the year. The Tampa Bay Rays went into Los Angeles to take on the Angels. They would get a road victory in this matchup. 6-4 would be the final score. They have now evened up their record at 6-6. After the loss, the Angels are 6-5. Aaron Sval, I believe is how you pronounce that name. He's now 2-1 as a starter. After the loss, Patrick Sandoval is 1-2. Pete Fairbanks picked up his first save for the Rays. The Washington Nationals went into San Francisco to take on the Giants. They would get a victory. 5-3 would be the final score in this one. They are now sitting at 5-6. The Giants have now dropped 4 games below 500. They are at 4-8. Jordan Weems is 1-0 as a starter. Ryan Walker suffered his first loss. He's now 1-1. And Kyle Finnegan would get his 4th save for the Nationals. Alrighty, the last game from Tuesday took place in San Diego as the Padres were playing host to the Cubs. The Cubs would get a big win. 5-1 would be the final score in this matchup. They have now improved to 7-4. After the loss, the Padres are now 2 games below 500. They are 6-8. Drew Smiley would pick up his second win. He's now 2-1 as a starter. After the loss, Joe Musgrove is 1-2 on the year. Alrighty, that takes care of my recap from Tuesday's action of the Major League Baseball season. As always, if you're new to this channel and you like this type of content, please feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative. Until next time, take care.